Such a cool place to boondock. We are just above Lake Havasu, Arizona. This is a pretty nice little place to hang out for one night. Last night was our last night of our 2023 trip. We are now headed to Yuma.
Well, we are back in Yuma to start our 4th year of work camping here at Sundance RV Resort.
Pickleball is waiting for me.
Hi everyone, welcome to Tigner Adventures. We have made it. We are now in
Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah.
Our home for the next 6 months.
Yep. So we are work camping. This is a work camp gig that we have here. We have a lot of fun here and we have a lot of friends here, so it works out really well.
It goes really fast.
This resort is actually broken up into 2 different areas. We have the front area is for RVers and the back area for the most part is for park models. So those are permanent residents and they kind of come and go depending on when they're going to be here. But this area up here is just pretty open right now. It's mainly just work campers and getting everything ready. And if you can see, here's our site. We got everything all set up. We are good.
Tansy is happy.
Yeah, Tansy loves her new little cage and
Her bigger cage.
Bigger cage with her little cat tree in there and everything.
Yeah.
This ends our 2023 summer trip, which was, we did a
Awesome.
lot. Yeah, we did a lot. It was really
crazy.
awesome. So we're going to be, in this video, we're going to be talking about, you know, how that worked and how much it cost and our gas mileage and all that good old stuff. But before we start, I just wanted to point out, I'm going to be a work camper, so I'm all dressed up. Ninette's getting ready to go play pickleball. And that's one of the things that we really love about staying at a resort. We love boondocking out in the wilderness. That's fun too, but not necessarily for 6 months straight. This is a lot funner that way. But this resort that we're at, I just wanted to remind you, we do have a coupon that is good for 3 nights of free camping.
So come and visit us.
Yeah, come visit us. It's free. There's no obligation. If you're interested,
You have to be 55 and older.
Yep, got to be
At least
55
one.
and older. If you're under 38 feet or 38 feet and under, you can stay at this resort. And if you're over that, don't worry. We have a sister resort right across the road, basically, or the wash that is takes larger rigs. So the coupon works at either one of them. So just come and see us and kind of see why we enjoy this, I guess. So the other thing is that they need more work campers. They're short on work campers. They had a few that have canceled out. And so if you're interested in work camping, get a hold of them right away. Here's the number, and you can check with them and see, you know, maybe you want to do work camping this winter. They have a number of different positions open, so just get a hold of them. You know, just a little plug for them. We don't get anything out of this, by the way. We like the resort. We enjoy it here. We've made a lot of friends, and so it works out really well. Ninette goes to go play pickleball while I go to work, and
I'll go play, you go work.
she takes all the pictures around the resort and everything. And
I'm going to do the Taco Tuesday pictures and
Yeah.
the bowling pictures.
she doesn't work any set particular schedule, and so it's just kind of whenever they do an event. And so she gets to go play pickleball right now. I'm on a set timer, so I have to go do the post office is what I'm doing. So, but now what we need to do is we need to talk about our trip, because you know, we started that back in April of this year. This is 2023, and it's now October 2023. Anyway, let's get into the numbers and see what this all works out to be. Let's start by reviewing our map for 2023. We are using this software called Trip Wizard by RV Life. This is something that we really have enjoyed using to plan out our trips, and we are an affiliate for them. So if you are interested in this, we do have a number of videos that we have made to show you how this software works and things like that. If you just look up here, you can see our playlist with all the different training videos that we've put together. But if you use our code Tigner25, then you'll get a 25% discount off if you want to actually check this out. It does come with a 7-day free trial, so you can check it out, and if you like it, then great. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it works perfect for us. We really have enjoyed using that this year. So if you look here, you can see that our whole trip is planned out here. We started out on Friday, 4/14 over here on the left, and if we go all the way to the bottom of this screen, you'll notice that we arrived in Yuma on 10/15/23 for a total of 184 nights of camping. So that is a pretty good sized trip, and so let's go over some of the specifics of cost and things like that. To start off with, let's look at the camping, or at least where we stayed each night. You can see here that I've put together a spreadsheet. Starts off on April 14th of 2023, and I've actually broken this up into several different sections to try to get an idea how many nights we stayed with different things that we actually own. So for example, we're Elks members, we're Harvest Host members, we're Boondockers Welcome. So how many of these places did we stay that we would actually, so we can kind of see if those particular memberships pay for themselves. So first of all, we have family and friends, then we have boondocking, parking lot, Harvest Host, Elks Lodge, campgrounds, RV parks, and the actual cost that it costs to stay there each night. And then on the far right here, I'm just saying this is the areas that we stayed in, just so it's more for my reference to try to tie it to the map when I'm looking at it, so I knew what was kind of going on. But if we arrow down here, you'll notice at the very bottom over here on the nightly costs, we actually have 184 nights. So that matches our map, what we actually had on our map for the number of nights that we were out actually staying somewhere. And over on the left, you can see that we stayed with family and friends 91 times throughout the 184 nights. So that was pretty nice because that didn't actually cost us anything to stay with them. Boondocking is places that we stayed that we didn't actually have any hookups or anything. We did that 22 nights. We stayed in 8 parking lots, so that's like Walmart and things like that. And it also includes the time that we did spend some time in Grants Pass at Henderson Lineup to have some work done on the rig. And we'll cover those costs in here also, but we stayed there 4 nights. They didn't charge us anything for that. Harvest Host, which I've actually lumped into Boondockers Welcome, is part of that. So we actually did not stay with any actual Harvest Host sites. We stayed at 8 Boondocker Welcome sites. So we weren't by anybody that had Harvest Host, so that didn't actually work for us this time. So that's just how that works. And then Elks Lodge, interesting enough, we stayed 1 night at an Elks Lodge. And to be honest with you, we typically tried something differently because the Elks Lodges, they are getting darn expensive. You know, it's $130 to have a membership, and then on top of that, they want, you know, upwards to $35 a night just to sit there, and you don't really get anything. You do have access to go into the lodge and, you know, have some drinks and things, but other than that, they don't have a swimming pool, they don't have jacuzzis, they don't have anything. So I think this is the end of Elks Lodge. We're going to go ahead and cancel that membership and save that money because it just wasn't a benefit to us, and we don't see that being a benefit as we go forward either. So for the amount of money that we spent for the membership and then actually being able to use it, which still costs us more money. Now Boondockers Welcome, on the other hand, you know, we stayed 8 times, didn't cost us a dime, so we still plan on using that. So if we lump all that together with the Harvest Host membership and Boondockers Welcomes, it still was a good deal for us, so we're going to keep that one. The actual campgrounds are campgrounds that were, you know, had hookups, or they were just U.S. Forest Service places that had something, you know, some kind of hookup. So like, for example, when we were in Banff, they had electrical hookups, so we put that under that. So we had 44 nights of staying into a campground. RV parks that we actually had full hookups and everything. There was 10 of those, and so if we go over to the column that says total stay cost, we had $1,313 is what it cost us for actually staying places, all of these added up. That's what it came to for our 184 nights, which is 6 months. So for 6 months of camping or night staying places, we spent $1,300, which is considerably more than we spent last year. But some of this kind of came about because we went to Canada. We had no idea what to expect and things like that. We didn't know if we could boondock, where we could boondock. We didn't want to get to, especially Banff, for example, and not have some place to stay. And so we made a lot more reservations overall this year than we have ever made in our lives. And so there was a lot more costs involved. Now, the cost of the Canadian dollar to the US dollar did work well in our favor. So that was pretty nice. And that saved us quite a bit of money. And this is what our costs actually were for nightly stays. Well, moving on to the other portion of our expenses, this other spreadsheet, it's quite a large spreadsheet, but if you look over here on the left, you see again April 14th is our starting, and our actual mileage on our motorhome was 74,633. So as we go across here, it starts showing you how many miles we traveled. This is between fill-ups that we're going to, where we're going to get fuel. So on this date, we got fuel. It was came out to 27.6 gallons. We only had that one fill up. So what it did is it divides that out by the 160 miles and says we got 5.8 miles per gallon. And so if you notice across here, if I go over to the right here, we have our first fill up, second fill up, third fill up. Sometimes it takes us 3 fill ups before we actually get our rig filled. And what that the reason for that happening is because our credit cards have some type of limit on them at that station. It would only let so much go in, then it shuts off, and then we have to reauthorize again or something like that. It could be like when we got gas at Kroger's, we would get a discount. Well, they only allow up to 35 gallons, so then we got to switch over to something else, and we're also using our Gas Buddy card in a number of those situations. So they have different limits on them, what they'll allow and how much they'll allow for the week. So that's why we kind of have it broke up into 3 different sections here. But then if you get over to the right here, all the way over, then we show the total cost of gas at that particular fill up, and then also the total number of gallons at that particular fill up. And then if you look over here to the right, so the price per gallon is what we actually ended up paying after whatever discounts we had or whatever the actual price of the gas was. If we happen to put gas in the generator, if you notice here, we had several nights where we actually had to use our generator because our solar didn't work. There was too many trees, whatever the case may be, we needed to charge up. And so we ran the generator, and it's just a little Honda style generator. So it doesn't take a lot of gas to generate power for quite a while. But one of the things that was pretty interesting in Canada too was that they only allow you to run your generator from, I think it's like 2 hours in the morning, 9 to 11 if I remember right. Maybe it's 8 to 11. It might be 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night, or 2 hours and 2 hours. But you could only run it in the morning for a few hours, and then you could run it at night for a few hours. And so basically we had to run it each time, if we were in complete darkness in the trees. I mean, these trees are like straight up and down for 100 feet. There's just nothing getting through them. So it's pretty interesting. But this on the chart here, we are showing that we actually did use gas out of our gas tank, because that's what we're filling up our generator with, is gas from our actual physical tank. We took the hose that we had for a real generator when we had the big generator, and I rerouted that, and I used that on a little pump to pump gas out of our main tank and fill up the generator. That way I don't have to carry an extra gas can around. It works really handy. These are the number of gallons that we used, and they base on the cost of per gallon. This is how much it costs to actually run the generator. So overall, I ran the generator this many times. I don't actually have a total on that, but over here on the right, I have a total of $64 for gas that we actually ran for the generator to produce power because we could not use solar. But I also take this generator fill up off of this total gallons here, so that my price per gallon over here or my miles per gallon shows the appropriate miles per gallon. So if you look down through here, if I go all the way to the bottom, let's just jump to the bottom for a minute. The total miles traveled was actually 8,263 miles, and our average miles per gallon came out to 6.34, which is a lot better than we used to do when we had our engine, actually charging our batteries. We don't have that anymore. We don't use our alternator to charge our lithium batteries. It's all done with solar, or in this case, we had to use the generator a few different times. That allowed us to increase our miles per gallon. We used to get right around 5.3 to 5.5. Now we're getting 6.3. So that's a major difference right there. It saves us a lot of money by doing that. So if we come over here to the total cost, this is the total cost of gas. $5,228 is what we actually spent on gas for this summer. We started our budget off with just over $2,000 in the budget, just starting the trip out. And we typically only put $200 in the budget, but we knew that we were going to be spending a lot more gas on this trip because we're going 8,000 miles. And we're staying in the west where the gas prices are considerably higher than what the east is. So anyway, we typically do $200. We started doing $400, and when I got towards the end of the trip, I actually ended up taking a couple trips where I actually put $600 in there for that month just to make sure I had enough gas to finally get down to where we got our total here. So a total of $5,000. So if we take that actual total gas amount of $5,228, divide that by 6, we spent just over $800 a month for gas. Now, again, we're full-time. We don't have to travel that fast if we didn't want to. So if we didn't have that money saved up and didn't have the money to be able to put in there to augment those costs, we could just sit places a lot slower and go a lot slower, and that would manage what that actual cost per month was. But we kind of decided we're going to do this big long trip because we had that opportunity, and so we were expecting we were going to have to come up with some extra money here and there to do that. And so I did some side jobs and I did some extra things just to make that available so we could make sure that worked out. And you can tell right here that it worked out really well. So we had a total of 1,390 gallons. So that meant that the actual average price per gallon that we paid this summer was $3.76. Let's move on to the car gas. The car gas, we spent $786 throughout the whole summer for gas for the car, which came out to $131 a month average. So that was not much of an issue there. Also, let's talk about maintenance on the vehicles themselves. So maintenance on the car came out to $87 total for the 6 months. So that was $14.55 a month. So pretty minimal. But the interesting thing is on the rig, when we first started the trip, I mentioned, or when we were going to be going into Canada, I mentioned we had a little bit of a problem. We have this little problem. I'm looking under the rig here with this guy. We are losing antifreeze. We chose to continue on with our trip even though we had that issue with our coolant leak. We have never found out what the real issue is there. So overall, we bought 10 gallons of antifreeze concentrate. So that means we used 20 gallons of antifreeze, which cost us $172. We haven't had any issues with overheating. It's just that we're losing the antifreeze. I didn't want to just go up there blindly in case I had a problem. I figured I have roadside assistance. If something happened, I could at least get to a mechanic. If I had all the parts, then the mechanic could just fix it, or I could fix it if I had to. Well, those total parts came to, just for the radiator, I bought a number of different hoses, water pump, things like that, was $324 for all of that. So I just carried that with me throughout the summer just as a backup. So, and then also I bought wiper blades for $24. We had to put new tag axle tires on our rig because we lost the tread on one of the tires. Those were under warranty or maintenance, and so we only had to pay the difference besides what the maintenance or the warranty portion covered. So that cost us $265 for tires. And we got 2 brand new tires on our tag axle. And we also bought oil and a filter and replaced our oil halfway through the trip. That was $45.
And I also changed out the oil on my transmission. That was $97.77. I kind of did a boo-boo and drove over a tree stump and ripped our exhaust off. So that cost me $16.32 to make up a little thing to make that stay on there. And we just finished the trip. Our goal is, now that we're back at Yuma, we'll find a muffler shop to actually, replace that whole piece of it and put on something new there. So we haven't done anything with that. It's just been kind of going along and doing just fine by itself. Hasn't been a big issue. So overall, the expense on all the maintenance things that we did on the rig itself for traveling and everything came out to $953, which basically came out to $159 a month. Now, we haven't released a video on this yet. It's coming. We still have several videos that will be released throughout the next few weeks that's still going about our trip. So we wanted to throw this one out really quick just because we're here in Yuma now. But we still have a lot of the summer to still pass, because all we did was get past Canada, but we have a lot more things going on. One of those was that we stopped at Henderson Lineup in Grants Pass, Oregon, and we had a number of things done on the rig. We did not have a budget for that item, so we ended up pulling that money out of our retirement fund, which we haven't touched that fund forever, and we ended up pulling out $6,156 out of that fund to pay for those upgrades. It's just kind of a major thing that we needed to have done, and it came down to, do we put $6,000 into the rig that we like and works well, or do we go out and buy another rig? And just looking at other rigs to see what was on sale, I mean, basically to buy the same identical thing we have right now, same year, is now going on 30 years old. So if we were to buy the same identical thing we have now, not even counting the same mileage we bought it at the time, it was 40,000 miles, then we're basically paying about $25,000 now, where we originally only paid $6,000 for this, and we've done work since then on it. So it's a friend of ours told us that if you like what you got, it's much better to do upgrades on it and fix things than it is to go get a whole nother rig. And so that's what we decided to do, and that's why we spent that money on the rig. So that gives you all the costs now that we had throughout the summer. All of them were part of our budgeting process, excluding the Henderson Lineup things that we did. And we have a video coming out that will show all the stuff that was actually done. And there was quite a bit. So it was well worth the $6,000. And that actually came out cheaper than they originally had estimated. So we felt really good about it. And they allowed you to stay on site while they did all the work and everything. So it was a pretty good little setup compared to just taking it to some shop or something like that. Well, that's about it for our trip. It was a lot of fun. Definitely, there was a lot to it. And, overall, I think we did pretty good. I mean, an average gas price of $3.76 is pretty decent these days. So I think we did really well that way. So
Even
anyway,
going to Canada.
Even going to Canada. So now that finishes summer of 2023. What are we going to do in summer of 2024?
Who knows?
We don't know. We're not for sure.
Maybe you'll find out.
Hopefully we'll be able to decide by January what we're doing, but we are, throwing a bunch of things out there, trying the mapping software, looking at what kind of distances, when we want to leave here, what's kind of going on. We're just kind of trying to figure everything out. So we'll let you know when we find out. Thanks for coming along today and watching this little update. Hopefully that's some information that you can use within your own planning environment. Remember about the resort here, come by and see us. We're here. Just reach out to us and we'd be glad to, meet with you and just get to know each other a little bit. So that's the whole idea of this. We like making new friends.
Come and play pickleball with me.
Oh, there you go. What an invitation that is.
Yeah.
So, anyway, well, thanks for coming along with us. We'll plan on catching you on our next video, or maybe we'll see you in person. So take care.
Bye.